Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Revival of America podcast. This is Jenny. I'm the owner and the host of the Revival of America. Today we have Field Mcconnell in the house, everybody. So please, if you have a question for Field, feel free to raise your hand and I will unmute your mic at some point in this podcast, or you can write your question underneath. There's a post that says, here, I'm going to drag it back down to the wall, everybody. You can write, it's got Derek on it, it's got John Baxter on it, it's got Field on it, so you can write your questions underneath there if you can't speak. Also, to everybody, please be careful who you listen to and who you follow. It's crazy out there. My best suggestion to you regarding the Charlie Kirk situation is stay out of the minutia, stay out of the noise, take what resonates with you, and then walk away from the rest. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of confusion. We were told this is going to happen, but the biggest thing I would like to say is take Charlie's message and run with that torch. His message of God, Christ, Jesus, the family unit, the nuclear family. Take that and run with it because it's a very, very positive message. And all of the videos that you watch, if you haven't watched any of them, I highly suggest you guys go watch them, see how he was, and all of the scriptures that he talked about and he told the youth about. So if anything you take from anything in that memorial yesterday was absolutely beautiful, take the message, and it's of Christ, right? So what we're seeing is God's hand in real time, and we are seeing a revival. This is a worldwide deal, everybody. I do believe this was a shot heard around the world, and I know here in Arizona that stadium was packed to the gills. They had they had another place where the overflow could go. Then they had people outside the stadium to watch it on monitors. The people started going at about 11:30 the night before to get in line because the doors open at 7, and there was a 5-mile line of cars just to get to the stadium around 6:30 in the morning yesterday. It was an absolutely beautiful service. So if we take anything from that, everybody look at the message, look at the unity, and look at what Charlie Kirk has done with people coming to Christ. So that's the message we need to take from it all. Everything else will come out if it's supposed to. We've been told the world is a stage, but what does that mean? So just take what resonates with you, stay out of the minutia, stay out of the noise. Um, you know, I'm not going to push out there that if it was real or not. You guys take that and do what you will with it, because if it did in fact happen, I want to be sensitive to the family and Erica and, the people that, really were close to him. So, again, like I said, I won't be pushing that. I am keeping an open mind about everything, question everything. I suggest you do that because a lot of things don't make sense and connect. They don't connect. The dots don't connect when it comes to his passing, right? So definitely question everything, but just keep an open mind, because if it did or didn't happen, either way, if we're supposed to find out, we will find out. So also too, just everybody stick and stay with the 3 to 5 people that haven't led you wrong through the course of your journey, because more than likely they're going to get you over the hump. There's a lot of craziness besides the whole Charlie Kirk thing going on. Just a lot of crazy noise being put out there. So stay out of the noise, everybody. If it doesn't resonate, exit that chat, exit the comment box, exit the podcast, whatever it may be, and just get out of it, because it's this Charlie Kirk thing. If people can't keep an open mind about it and not get too tied up in the emotions, what's to come, you're not going to be able to handle it. So, and what's to come is bigger than Charlie Kirk. So, just be ready for that, everybody, because it's coming. It's coming. I think this was a precursor to what we're about to see. So buckle up, everybody. We're in for a ride. Also, too, for those of you that have been asking me about Phil McConnell's books, I will put the links and everything on the board. They are available for the public to purchase. Phil did mass produce them. They are in softback right now. You can purchase either the set of 4, or you can get one individually. So I will put that information on the bottom of the wall. The payment options are either through Zelle or Venmo, just FYI. So I will put that on the board for you guys, for those that have been asking me. If you do want either a single individual book or the set of books, let me know through my email, therevivalofamerica@yahoo.com. Let me know what you want and give me your address and everything. I do send those out if I have orders on Fridays. Yeah, just email me, therevivalofamerica@yahoo.com, and we'll get those out to you. Also, that is my personal email. If you have questions about Fields books, John Baxter, whomever it may be, or you just have a question for me, please use that email at it's therevivalofamerica@yahoo.com. Also, to everybody, we're being listened to in over 100 countries. So if you come in late to this podcast, you can listen to us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Apple, Google, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Podbean, Riverside, Amazon Music. The social medias are Jenny Jeread Facebook at Jenny_Jeread X, at Jeread Rumble, at Jeread True Social, at Jeread Instagram, The Revival of America right here on Telegram, The Revival of America on YouTube, and I'm out of timeout, everybody, so I'm able to post my shows over there again. So go follow that page as well for those that maybe have challenges listening to it on Rumble or any of the other locations. Go follow one of those, everybody, because as you can see, I do post the podcast everywhere. Also, if you have a story or a journey to tell, please reach out to me at troasubmissions@yahoo.com. We'll get your story, your voice on the show. But remember, everybody, we do vet these stories because unfortunately we do have shysters out there that like to make fake stories just to try to get on a podcast. So it's sad, but we do have those. But we will reach out to you if we believe it is a real story, and then we will get your voice heard and your story heard. And then also, last but certainly not least, check out the website, everybody. The merch store is over there, Fields page is over there. The children's page, we've got one for John. We got one for Rick Anson with Brain IQ Health. Good stuff over there. And then the latest updates on the podcast as well as the show lineup. If you sign up for the newsletter, it is free, therevivalofamerica.com, and you will get the newsletter showing you what shows are going to be on for that week, where they're going to be, the times, etc. So with that, everybody, we have Field in the house. We're not going to take up too much time. I also want to let everybody know, if you guys come on my page, whether it be here, whether it be on my Rumble page, my YouTube page, and you make snarly comments, shitty comments about my guest, or you're just bitching to bitch, I'm gonna mute your comment and more than likely delete it, because again, for one, this is why we're in the situation we are a lot of times in this world, right? The divisiveness, the hate that people have. If you have nothing better to do than to just bitch and complain about somebody using a cuss word, then Field uses them. Captain Kyle uses them. Every once in a while, I'll spew out one. If you don't like it, don't come in and listen to it. You don't have to listen to that show, but you certainly don't need to come on and put pretty vile comments, whether it be on my Rumble, YouTube, wherever, maybe here, Telegram. I will mute you. I will remove you, and you won't be able to probably listen to the podcast again if I mute you forever or comment or just block you. I'm not going to deal with it. I'm not trying to push that kind of negativity. You know me, I don't deal with it. I don't care. Free speech. I understand that. But if you're going to come on my page and be hateful, I'm not going to allow you to do it. I don't want my guests to be hateful. I don't want you guys to be hateful. That's not what we're trying to push here. So you have to understand, a lot of the information that we get and we put out there, in the research that we do. We put it out there for you guys to help you. Many of us are not getting paid a paycheck to do this. We're trying to do this for you to get you through this. But then when you want to come on, you want to say mean stuff like that. It's very, very unfortunate. So I'm just letting you know. I'm telling you this because I've had a few come on and talk about, a couple of my guests, and it's just vile. I'm not going to allow that, everybody. I don't do that kind of stuff. So please, if you don't, I was raised, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And if you know my guests say certain words, don't listen to the podcast. That's my best suggestion to you, is just don't listen to it. Does it always happen that way, that a cuss word comes out? Absolutely not. For the most part, we're pretty respectful. But at the end of the day, things do get frustrating. They do get, we have feelings too, so we can voice, our feelings as well. But again, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all, because I'm not going to let people attack my guests. So with that, everybody, Field, how are you, my friend?
Well, I'm old. Jenny, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. I was able to, in my backyard pretty much yesterday see Air Force One and Air Force Two take off from Luke Air Force Base here in Arizona after the beautiful memorial they had for Charlie Kirk here. Absolutely amazing what we saw yesterday again, and that's why I was trying to tell the audience, if anything we take out of this whole Charlie Kirk thing is his message, and we need to carry that torch of Christ, faith, the nuclear family, and run with it, because we see a lot of stuff coming out about it, good, bad, whatever. But his message is very loud, and I do believe that it is making a difference around the world, because we're seeing a lot of people come to Christ that didn't believe in Christ or pick up a Bible and read the Bible for the first time. So it's absolutely amazing what we are witnessing, everybody. We are witnessing God's hand in real time, and we're going to continue, I believe, to see it more. Go ahead, Field.
Oh, I didn't have anything to say, but I'm crying right now because of the power of your message, which is a rubber stamp of Charlie Kirk message. And I'm so glad that, and by the way, I'm going to be 76 in less than a month. And at age 76, I will see a great rush to join the Christian family around the world without reference to politics or color or age or social status. And, it's an exciting time to be alive, even if I'm crying, but I'm crying out of respect to Jesus Christ himself. Um, and I'm not what I would call a mamby-pamby Christian. I'm what I would call a full contact Christian. I'm going to pick up my cross and carry it. And it doesn't matter what the cross is. Sometimes we don't know what we're going to get challenged with. But in this family, which is global, we need to face challenges knowing that we will not be challenged alone. There's a lot of humanity that is going to rise up and be noticed. And thank you for allowing me to be noticed on your channel, Jenny.
Oh, absolutely. Of course, Fields. Of course, people love you, get a lot of great messages. For the most part, I get a lot of great messages about all of my guests. That it is 99% more positive than negative, but it's those individuals that are just vile, have nothing better to do, that I'm just not going to deal with. So just know, Field, you are very much loved, and you got a bit of a fan base out there, my friend. So keep doing what you're doing. And yes, you do have a birthday coming up, October 2nd, right?
Yes, October 2nd, and I think it's a Thursday. Uh, and every birthday is a blessing, is it not? I mean, some people don't have birthdays anymore, and I hope that before anybody runs out of birthdays, they run to the foot of the cross and become accepted in heaven. And I'm not going to mention my wife's name that's up there in heaven, but sadly, I've had more than one wife, but there's only one that has been accepted into heaven. And it was my distinct pleasure to show her the way. And the first day that I stayed in her home in England, she said very clearly, Field, can you introduce me to Jesus Christ? And I said, yes, let's go to your kitchen, turn on your laptop, and I will show you the way to him. And I didn't find my way to him until I was 44. And, and then she died at age 55. But I know where she is. And she's in a much more pleasant place than I am, even though I'm in the house that we shared for the last 5.5 years of her life. And the house itself is very comfortable. but the 100 acres that it's situated on in wooded Wisconsin, um, it's a place for happiness, not for sadness. And yet, when you said those kind things about the display of humanity at Luke Air Force Base, actually, that was not where it was, but that's where the aircraft took off from. And I'm sort of an aircraft guy. So, Air Force One and Air Force Two, uh, one of them carries the active president, and one of them carries the current and active vice president. And about 5 years ago, I exposed a vice president who was eh, I don't even like to talk about how depraved Mike Pence was, but it's a good thing that he's no longer a contagion upon our nation, because our nation is supposed to be a beacon to the world where people can come join in humanity and be respected and loved and honored. And so I'll be quiet now and go back to listening. Thank you.
Oh no, we don't want you to just listen. This is your show. So yes, everybody, the as many of you guys know, the event was at the State Farm Stadium here in Phoenix, Arizona, the Cardinal Stadium, and it was massive. What was going on yesterday was absolutely massive. So I hope everybody can take some solace in that, and people are out there dissecting it already. I just think the biggest thing is the message. If I can say anything here today at all, and through the rest of my podcast, is take Charlie Kirk's message and run with that torch of faith and family and country, God and country, right? And family. So again, whatever we're supposed to know will come out. And yeah, it just, yeah, there's just so much. There's just so much to for everybody to wrap their heads around. But just have faith in knowing that we are seeing a revival. It was absolutely beautiful yesterday, and people are coming together. The unity, the getting back to God. That's what we need. And it's not just of America, revival of America. Go figure. My podcast name. That's weird. Not really, but it's a revival of the world, everybody. This is a global thing, so this is absolutely huge. So I highly encourage you guys today through any of the podcasts that I have here, Derek's, John's. I'm trying to tell Derek if we can have a Q&A today, because I know a lot of people have a lot of feelings going on, different mixed emotions. Okay, so I get it. Feel free to ask your questions. Don't be afraid. Your voice matters. Your feelings matter. Um, it's just when people are inciting hate and violence and very vile stuff, I just don't deal with that, right? So I encourage all of your voices to be heard. Don't be fearful of that. So whether it be here in my shows or somewhere else, be sure you use your voice, just as long as it's in a not hateful, inciting violence type way, because that's not what we do, everybody. We come together in unity and prayer. I mean, look at the difference, right? George Floyd, Summer of Love, burning down cities, burning down buildings. That's not what we do. We come together in prayer, and that's what we do. So just remember all of that and continue that, because I know that's what God would want, and that's how we're going to continue on with his message of Christianity, the church, right? So Field, with that, I know you wanted to touch a little bit today on what the dinar recaps. Is that what you were talking about?
Well, yeah, I've been reading that source for about 6 or so years. And today's message, if you could post a link to that Dinar Chronicles today, that's not indicating that you've read it, understand it completely, and endorse it. But I've got to tell you, um, well, I think before I tell you anything, I should say a prayer. Okay.
Sure.
Dear Heavenly Father, please hear my humble voice and know of the deep faith and the great love and admiration I have for you. And when I say you, that is God and the Son, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. Uh, my life has been a series of ups and downs, just like most everybody's lives. And the ups have always been more memorable than the downs. And I would wish that for everyone within the sound of my voice or within arm's length of a Bible. And the Bible is a living document. And when we individually seek the guidance in the Bible, we individually become elevated to a closer proximity to heaven, which is the ultimate destination of those who seek the face of Jesus. Thank you, Jenny, for allowing me to pray. And God bless you, Jenny. And let's keep working for God. I know you are. I know I am. And the enemy cannot defeat us. Amen.
Amen. Of course, Field, you can pray anytime here, my friend. I highly encourage it. And thank you for that beautiful prayer. We love you, Field. Okay, so yes, I will
Well,
you sent the link to me, so I will post that on the board, but go ahead.
oh, yeah. And I just want to tell you, now I'm in a better frame of mind. And when I pray, I cry. And I don't know why. Maybe it's
That's
because
okay.
I'm
I
comparing.
I
Yeah,
do
well,
too.
I
It's
know.
okay.
Oh, okay. Well, let me tell you what just happened today. And if it was caused to happen by any power in heaven or on earth, it was caused by God Himself. I had a notice dated about 7 or 8 days ago in my post office box. I just got the notice because I'm delinquent about checking my post office box because I get as much bad news as I get good news. But I had a delightful experience today. I went in to pick up a package that I'd been told in writing it's addressed to me. It's from some company that I ordered product from. And so I wanted to make sure I got to the post office as soon as it opened after this past weekend. Um, and when I checked a few things in my post office box, um, I I was happy to see there was very little mail for me because a lot of the mail I get isn't very good. And now I come to the point of this short message. The employee at the post office said, you've got 2 certified letters from the IRS that you have to sign for. And I said, well, that's interesting. You should tell me that on this day in history, because in the Dinar Chronicles published on this day in history, President Trump said he'd shut down the IRS. And she says, well, I can send them back to the IRS if you'd like. And I said, yes, since they're certified letters, they can pay the postage both directions and leave me out of this. I am not subject to the IRS. I formally told the IRS that, and this was in 2012, I published a lawful document that gave instructions for separating from the IRS. And I also published a YouTube uh, called something, what's the term? Um, oh, yes, the IRS tells all of us, and I don't listen to them anymore because they don't exist, but they suggest to us that we have to do what the IRS says or there will be a penalty. Well, they haven't penalized me. They've tried to. In fact, if anybody ever comes to my house to visit, and I happen to love people, and I love people that are black and white and brown and yellow and red. And it doesn't matter their lifestyle, their social status. It doesn't matter the language they speak. I love people because, first, God loved people and God created people. So why don't we just get along, share our laughs, share our tears, and share the truth? And the truth is that Jesus Christ is Lord. So when I got to the post office, the postal employee said, "Well, you don't have to accept these certified letters from the IRS." And I said, "Well, that's good. What's my option?" She said, "I'll send them back." And I said, "Oh, good. I hope they enjoy hearing from me." They've heard from me for the last 13 years. It was 13 years ago that I told the IRS I would never pay a tax in my life again because all taxes in the United States of America, going back to 1913, are unlawful and unenforceable. And notice when you said earlier on in your greeting to your listeners, Jenny, you said sometimes a guest or two might use some questionable language. Notice my restraint in not using questionable language about something so near and dear to my heart as unlawful taxes that I haven't paid for 13 years. And just this morning, I got to return 2 letters to the IRS. I don't know what they were. They could be in this great financial reset we're experiencing right now, even though some of us aren't sure of that yet, but we all will be sure soon. In fact, that brings me to this comment. Today at 4 p.m. Central, President Trump is going to make an announcement to the entire nation, and I believe it will be to the entire globe also, because we are not just the United States of America. We are God's people, and why can't we just get along? I don't hate anybody. Uh, do I hate hate? Yeah, according to what I've read in the Bible, hate is not a good emotion. So I try not to hate any individual. But, a corporation is not an individual. And some corporations are absolutely evil. And if evil's a dirty word, I'm sorry. But that's what we're living through right now. At this very moment, we are witnessing the battle between good and evil. And I don't want to upstage President Trump, but I happen to know who the eventual winner is, and it's not evil. It's good. So I'll get off my high horse now, Jenny. And, I was happy to tell you and your listeners about going to the post office and being told by a U.S. postal employee that I don't have to accept certified mail. And so didn't. I didn't sign for it. I didn't touch it. It got sent back to the IRS with my best wishes, because the IRS at one point had a couple 100,000 employees. Well, they'll find another job. I've had numerous jobs in my 75 years, soon to be 76, if God blesses me with just a little bit more time, which I think he will. Uh, he's blessed me and he's never cursed me. And that gift, I got it for free. And if anybody within the sound of my voice wants to get it, just go to a quiet place by yourself, maybe even a, a place with no lights, so you can be in the radiance of Jesus Christ, and just tell him you want to go to heaven when your time on earth is up. And he will work out a transition plan for you. And I had the great joy of leading my wife, and I got to be politically correct and say my latest wife, sadly, I had more than one, but never more than one at a time. And the last wife I have was from England. Her name was Denise Irene Clark, and she is in heaven now, waiting for me. And I'm not anxious to go there, but I'm very much looking forward to seeing Denise, my wife, again. And I don't know what form that will take, but I don't need to know now because she'll be waiting at the gates of heaven and she will recognize me. And if I don't recognize her, I don't know how somebody can get cremated and be recognizable. But maybe it's a matter of faith, and maybe it's by the Spirit that, because when you get cremated, your spirit doesn't burn, your body does. And that's my belief. And it's not based on guessing, it's based on reading and praying. And I'll be quiet now, Jenny. Over to you.
Oh no, you don't have to be quiet, Field. This is your show. So, two, can you explain to the audience, for those that may not know, which probably many of them do know, that there is also two in the tax forms? Isn't there a tax form in there that states that the taxes are voluntary?
Yeah, but nobody is told when they volunteered. Would you like that answer, Jenny? I've got it.
Yeah, give it to us,
When you,
please.
I mean, this is critical, and I hope I'll try to calm down and not cry because I'm rather joy filled right now because I know the truth. And regarding the voluntary nature of taxes collected since 1913, it's voluntary. We are not required to pay taxes, but we are never told when we volunteered. Here comes the answer. And you could you can trust this answer is coming from a spirit-filled Christian. When anybody that's being paid money for work signed their first 1040, which is the main part of the tax collection mechanism, when you sign that 1040 form for the first time, you have just volunteered to pay tax. But you can get out of it like I did because, and there's a term which I can't put my finger on it right now, but it's vacating your volunteering to pay voluntary taxes. And I did it not only in writing, I sent the written notice to the commissioner of the IRS, which on that day in 2012 was located in Puerto Rico. Well, there's a red flag. Puerto Rico is not one of the 50 states of the United States of America. So why were the taxes going to an office in Puerto Rico? And the answer to that is because the taxes were always illegal going back to 1913. And maybe it's because of some courageous broadcasters or podcasters like you, Jenny, are willing to allow the truth to be told on your station. And so I want to, for the American taxpayers, current and former, or even people like me who negated their voluntary uh, taxable entity. I'm glad that there are outlets that have the nerve and the love and the Christian faith to allow the truth to be told. In Jesus' name, amen. Over to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Field. I appreciate that. And hopefully that helps many of you that may not have known that or known that. You can share that with other people. I think because that's very informative for people to know regarding the voluntary taxes. Okay, everybody. So I'm going to open it up for you guys to ask questions for Field. Please use your voice. Don't be afraid. We are here for you every week, same time, same place, unless something happens. Life happens, right? So, Derek French, I have your mic unmuted. Go ahead.
Thank you, Jenny. The word Field is looking for, and maybe he'll hit me on top of the head and say, no, that's not the word. But my wife and I sent a revocation letter to the commissioner of the Internal Revenue Service and also to our local field office. And that revocation letter removes me from the jurisdiction, which is Washington, D.C., Guam, and Puerto Rico. And I am also no longer a voluntary person to pay taxes because I don't belong in that jurisdiction. It's a jurisdictional issue that happened a long time ago. And since I sent the revocation, I was, according to the IRS, I was $280,000 in the rears of, according to the IRS. And since I sent my revocation, I've not received a letter saying that I owe this money anymore. Now they're saying, Mr. French, you failed to file your taxes in 2024. We're just sending you out a nice reminder that you need to file your taxes. What they were wanting me to do is sign another 1040 and opt back into the system. That's what they were wanting to do. So Field's correct. I did this. My wife and I did this in May, and I mean, it takes a lot of courage and faith, not tooting my own horn, but it takes a lot of courage and faith because it's scary, because that's what they want you to live in is fear. I'll shut up and let Field answer to that.
Yes, I'm just going to extrapolate what you already said. It's the form, the name of the form is revocation of election. Now, Kamala Harris might have heard something I didn't say because she's focused on certain things. But for people that are not named Kamala Harris, we are allowed by law to revoke our election to be a voluntary taxpayer. And I canceled mine in 2012. If anybody, including Jenny or Juan O'Saven or anybody within the sound of my voice, ever happens to find themselves in Plum City, Wisconsin, zip code 54761, I can meet you at Molly's restaurant, lead you up to my house, walk in the front door, and go straight to the coffee table in my main floor living room and show you a letter that I got probably 3 or 4 years ago, and it's quite thick. It's probably 3/4 of an inch of papers in a large business envelope from the IRS to me, and I've never opened it. I don't know what's in there. I don't care what's in there. Whatever's in there is unlawful, and I'm not a volunteer. And Mr. French is not a volunteer, nor his wife. And my wife, who died 5 years ago, is never volunteered. She was an English citizen, but she was granted lifetime permanent residence in the United States of America. But she's been upgraded to an eternal residence in heaven. And I invite anybody getting paid by the IRS to lie to a U.S. Marine to contact me. And you can find my contact details if you have any legitimate power. And if you don't have any legitimate power, then just ask yourself, why did the IRS call their locations field offices? Good question. Uh, you know, people that allegedly work for the United States of America should be happy to be surrounded by Marines, past and present, because for 250 years, since their first gathering in a bar named the Tun Tavern in Philadelphia, well, the Tun, Tun, Tavern, is where the Marines assembled, and it became the most feared military in the world. And one of the reasons why the Marine Corps is called the President's Own is, and finally, we have a president that respects Marines and vice versa. But I find it a real pleasure to serve, which I haven't served for a long time. I got out of the Marine Corps in 1977, but I've been faithful to my oaths, 4 of them, one to the Navy at Annapolis, one to the Marine Corps at Annapolis, one to the Air Force at Fargo Air National Guard Base. And I've never broken any of my oaths. And I'm not going to ask for a F-bomb clearance. I'm just going to demonstrate my human and humble side.
You're good, Field. Let her rip, potato chip.
Well, they're fucking with the wrong guy if they're fucking with me. And, you know, the Marines, they don't play games. The Marines' official motto is Semper Fidelis, which means always faithful. And if I were to be given the opportunity to suggest a second statement to the motto, I'd say dominate or die, because that's the mindset of a Marine. You know, if you want to engage, and not, I'm not saying get engaged to, but if you want to engage a Marine of any age, including Patty's 92-year-old dad, you know, you're going to find out that old Marines never die involuntarily. They will die volunteering to serve the United States of America and the constitutional republic. And finally, we're in 2025 now, and all the Marines worldwide, reserve, retired, living, or dead, all of us Marines can honor our president for the first time, of which I'm aware, and I've been somewhat aware since I graduated from Punahou School in June of 1967. And I was aware then that there was a person coming through the pipeline named Barry Swatero. And I don't know if Jenny has a photograph of my hearse, but for the last 15 years, I've had the name Barry Swatero, Punahou 79, in my very recognizable 1996 Cadillac hearse. And there's an empty pine box in the back that would fit Barry Swatero. Notice I didn't say the name that my own sister assigned to him in 1994. And I think my sister has paid the price for treason to America and international child trafficking based in America. How's that for something that nobody else on earth could say, Jenny?
Sounds great, and I'm sure the audience loved it. Thank you, Field. Did that
Yeah, you're
answer your
welcome.
question? Yeah, did that answer your question, Derek, or did you want to add to that?
No, it answered my question just fine. It is a revocation of election, and I just simply opted out of the system because the system's illegal. They know it. we know it or we should know it, and just send them a letter. And I mean, there's a legal process to go through, but I'm monkeys off my back. I don't owe these people anything except my oath of office to the United States Army. That's the only thing I owe them.
Okay. And am I listening to Derek right now?
Yeah, that was Mayfield.
Yeah. Well, I've heard very good things about you from a variety of sources. The most consistent source is JENNI, and yet you and I have never spoken before, of which I'm aware. But it's my pleasure to meet you over the telephone, and whether you're in the Army, which is probably the biggest and longest serving military branch in the U.S. I sometimes sound like I'm recruiting for the Marine Corps. No, I was in the Navy first, and I was in the Marine Corps for 6 years. Then I was in Air Force affiliate, and I don't think it really matters how you serve the United States of America, meaning in what branch. But if you are in a branch of the United States military, do like Derek and I have done and honor your oath, because you're swearing an oath in front of the Lord, even if it's to a country or a military branch of a country. But anybody who would swear an oath to God and then later break it, they're in dangerous territory. How about all the marriages that say, till death do we part? And I've had 3 wives depart me without dying. And I've had one that went to heaven. So I'll be quiet now, JENNI and Derek. Over to you two, or questions and answers. Whatever comes out of your mouth is fine with me.
Yeah, our first week in basic training, one of the part of the oath was not to fuck with Marines. That's
Hey,
Amen.
you know what? Yeah, well, fucking Marines is a compliment, and I'll accept that for the 250-year collection of Marines, past, present, and future. It's our pleasure to serve our country and serve our Lord. Amen. Over to you, JENNI.
Amen. Thank you, Field. Thank you, Derek. All right, everybody, go ahead and raise your hands for Field if you have questions for him. I will unmute your mic. Miss Cal, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Hi, good day. I have a couple questions. One, a question, and I guess they both are, but what does it mean about the taxes field with property taxes? Because I live in California, and usually by now I have a piece of property that the impounds don't come out in the loan, and I didn't get the tax bill yet, and I usually have it by September. I'm hoping maybe it's not going to come. I don't know what you think about that. And my follow-up question is, could you expound on what you were starting to talk about in the beginning about the Dinar Chronicles? Thank you.
Yes, and I think that JENNI has posted it on her wall. Let's find out. JENNI, have you posted that link, the Dinar Chronicles?
Yes.
Okay. And I've been reading that for 6 or 7 years. And today's version, or today's issue of the Dinar Chronicles, which is a 6-day-a-week publication, it's the most positive I've ever seen in 6 or 7 years. And I would recommend that anybody who wants to feel better about your future than you feel bad about your past, if you can read the Dinar Chronicles and put a little faith in it, most of us within the sound of my voice put our faith in God and His Son and the Holy Spirit. But I think that it's prudent, and it's certainly a voluntary expression of faith, to place a great deal of faith in President Trump And someday I'll be willing to say exactly what President and Mrs. Trump did for me, Field McConnell. I don't think it would be appropriate now to publish that verbally, but President Trump and his wife know my name. They know what I've done for global children, and they know how I was punished by the Department of Justice of the United States of America. But before I sound like an extreme personality, no, the United States Department of Justice became a constitutional branch in February of 2025. The Justice Department, in their treatment of me, was wildly illegal and caused me not to be able to come home to Plum City, Wisconsin, from my being denied a lot of stuff. But the most significant denial that I can lay at the feet of the 17th District of Florida Court. And notice I didn't say the judge's name was Dan Casey. I'd never be so bold as to say that. Oh, wait a minute. I guess I can say it now, because under the constitutional republic, we've regained freedom of speech. And so if Dan Casey wants to rebut my statement, I'd tell him, well, he obviously knows a lot about butts, but stop that behavior with me right now. I'm a constitutional citizen, and I will defend my rights, and I will unlash or free my speech. And, I was denied the ability to come home and say goodbye to my wife, Denise Irene Clark, with an E. That's the Northern Ireland form of Clark, Clarke. And they wouldn't let me come home to Wisconsin until after Denise died of thyroid cancer. And there's some yahoos on the internet that say, oh, sure, she died of natural causes. Well, I'm her husband, and her only husband. I'm, pardon me for coughing. I was the only husband she ever had, and yet the state of Florida wouldn't let me come home to say goodbye to her. And that sort of gives me carte blanche to make truthful statements about the legal community in the state of Florida. They denied me my constitutional rights. They denied me the most pleasant individual I ever met in my life. And they had a notarized letter from a medical professional telling the 17th District Court in the state of Florida that Field McConnell's wife, Denise, was in critical and final decline due to thyroid cancer, and they still wouldn't let me come home and say goodbye. If I was going to do what Dexter, what's his name? Is that right? No, that's not right. But Jenny told myself and that Army veteran that we could let her rip, potato chip, so we did. But I'm gonna demonstrate kindness. There was a great song by a lady in Kentucky in 1964. And there's another one that was great by Glenn Campbell in 1975. Glenn Campbell's was try a little kindness. You've got to try a little kindness, show a little kindness, just shine your light for everyone to see. And if you try a little kindness, and you overlook the blindness of the narrow-minded people on the narrow-minded street. That was Glenn Campbell's song, Try a Little Kindness. In 1964, a lady from Kentucky sang a song, What the world needs now is love, sweet love. That's the only thing that there's just too little of. Yeah, anyway, uh, I told, I didn't tell anybody. I suggested to a lady in England that when she finds out that my life has ended, that she should send a communication to the medical examiner who might try to figure out what I died of. I made it quite easy for this lady. I said, just tell the medical examiner that you have it, out of his own mouth, that he will die of a broken heart. And you know what? My heart is not fatally broken yet. I'm still living. And as long as I'm living, I'm going to tell the truth, and I'm going to honor my 4 oaths. Navy on the 28th of June of 1967, Marine Corps on the 9th of June of 1971, and the Air Force on the 5th of July of 1977. And the other oath, which was sworn on the 14th of February of 1967, will not be revealed until I am no longer breathing. Over to you, Jenny. And oh, by the way, that question was from Cal, was it not?
Yes. Did he answer your question, Cal?
Well, I'm just wondering about the property taxes. Would you have to sign this letter like this, or am I hoping that I usually have it by now? It's in California, you get 2 installments. They come, at the beginning of September, and then the second installment is due in April, but I haven't even received them in the mail. Am I hoping I'm lucky enough that I may not even be receiving them this year?
I think that's a possibility. A lot of the taxes, and property taxes is one such tax, they're being reviewed by powerful, I almost hate to say powerful attorneys, because, well, anyway, I'll leave it at that. I'll be humane. I don't want to pick on somebody that paid a lot of money to go to school to learn how to lie. But anyway, it's going to be interesting to see. And I've just, by coincidence, I've got 2 letters from the IRS today, but also within 5 feet of my chair that I'm sitting in right now, I've got a letter from the courthouse in Pierce County, Wisconsin, and I haven't opened it yet, but I will, but I'm not going to open it on this show just to be a showman. No, I'm a constitutional citizen of this republic, and I owe it to the constitutional republic to pay any price up to and including my death to defend constitutional citizens' values and the republic. How did that sound, Cal?
Sounded great. Thank you so much.
Yes, and I got a compliment for you, ma'am. Weren't you the second to last guest on last Monday's show?
Yes, I think so.
I think so too. And I told Jenny, I don't know if she'd remember, that your question or your comment on last Monday's show, which is still archived, was very stimulating. And so I passed along a compliment based on you, Cal, for the benefit of Jenny, that the reason I like to go to questions and answers is twofold. Number one, it demonstrates that Jenny and I collectively don't have a narrative we're trying to push. And Jenny and I collectively are willing to try to answer any question that comes our way from the group of people included in the audience on any given show, because that proves we're not espousing a narrative of our own construction, but we're answering questions that we have not been entitled to seeing the question, like the politicians, what's her name, Camel Toe Harris? Yeah, I mean, those people, they get the questions before the camera lights come on, not Jenny or I. And I just thought of the guy's name, Derek. So I guess my brain's still functioning. But Cal, whatever you asked me last Monday was the best question of that show. And I don't even remember what it is, because even though I'm 75 and people think I'm slowly losing my mind, no, I'm not losing my mind. I'm focusing my mind on constitutional opportunities and the defense of the United States of America, with hatred for no one and love for all. Over to you, Jenny and Cal.
Thank you very much, Field. I so respect you. I don't know how to tell you, from the education that I've received from being involved on Jenny's channel and her bringing you to us all. And it's been our delight. Thank you.
Well, you're very welcome. And, you're almost bringing tears to my eyes, but you don't want me to cry, and I'm not going to fake it for anybody. I'm humbled by your kindness, your words, and your questions. So, Jenny, when you're ready, let's see if we can find another question.
All right, everybody, I don't have any hands right here. I'm trying to see if there's anything here on the wall. For those of you guys that have a question for Field, please feel free to raise your hand. I will unmute your mic. Or if you can't speak, you can write it here on the wall underneath where his books are. You see a picture of his book. So there's no hands. There's no questions, Field. So do you want to just talk at random? Is there anything you want to touch on? What do you think, since this Charlie Kirk assassination, what do you, I think this is just a precursor to what's to come. What is your opinion in the days to come? What you think we could, you don't have to nobody knows what's really going to happen, right? But we do know there's going to be something significant happening here soon. What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't like to speculate. I don't like to offer opinions. And the reason I don't like to do either of those things is because I can speak to the truth. For instance, in 1968, at Holloman Air Force, or was it Cannon Air Force Base in New Mexico, they had two hangars that had been painted flat black on the inside walls, and they had tons, like semi-trailers of sand and rocks that were placed in the hangars, and then they were overlaid with some cement that was watered down, and that's where the lunar landings were filmed. Now, most people in America, or even most people that speak English as their number one language, would say, well, if the lunar landing was done in the Air Force hangar in New Mexico, what does that say about the honesty of the United States government at that time, when we were knee deep in disloyal public servants? In my estimation, one of the most disloyal politicians back then was the guy named Lyndon Baines Johnson, who basically set up the capture of the USS Pueblo. That's not right. USS Liberty. Pueblo was years ago. But see, a lot of the stuff that makes it to the 6 o'clock news is contrived, which also means false. And when the USS Liberty was attacked ostensibly by Egypt because the Israeli fighter pilots were flying airplanes that were painted to look like Egyptian aircraft. And Lyndon Baines Johnson, here comes an F-bomb, sort of, but it's a direct and honest quote of Lyndon Baines Johnson, who was the acting president when he spoke these words. He was talking to the U.S. Navy chain of command mechanism, and here comes the quote: "I want that goddamn ship on the bottom of the ocean." Well, that was not going to be academically possible because it was in the sea. But anyway, let's not quibble. How does it make people like me? I was born in Texas. How does it make someone exactly like me? Because I am me, and I've been me for 75 years. If you know that a U.S. president who is from the state of Texas was committing treason by attacking his own ship. See, because the U.S. Navy serves at the pleasure of the president, and yet he arranged for the Navy to fake the attack, and the attack was by Israel, which reminds me, Israel's coming into the news fairly soon in a not very favorable way. But I'm not going to say what the case is. I will state that on a certain day in June of 1967, and I think that was the 8th of June, the USS Liberty was attacked by the Navy, and they even had a backup plan if the Israeli Air Force pilots disguised as Egyptian Air Force entities, if they couldn't sink the Liberty, once again, just because I like to repeat things that are critically important, Lyndon Baines Johnson said, "I want that goddamn ship on the bottom of the ocean." And once again, he didn't know it was the sea. It was not the ocean, but same difference. He wasn't very smart, was he? So there's some people in the United States of America who would die for a child, die for a lady, or die for Jesus Christ. And I'm one such person. And when I do die, regardless of the cause, I know what the next stop on my tour is going to be. It's going to be heaven. And Jesus Christ paid my fare because he gave his life for people like me around the world that want to go to eternity to be with Jesus. And I have a really special and personal reason to want to go to eternity, because that is exactly where the spirit of my wife, Denise Irene Clark, is today. Over to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Fields. All right, Linda Hendrickson, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Hi, I just wanted to say I was kind of watching the news on and off a little bit today, and they're talking about our next thing. It's going to be landing on Mars. They've been talking about Tylenol and autism, and I don't think it's Tylenol as much as it is the vaccines and what they put in the vaccines.
Well, I think what the news media is trying to do is they're trying to get in front of it and tell more BS lies because they know Trump is going to be coming out today at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk about what's causing the autism situation. So they're trying to get in front of it. I believe that's what they're trying to do and put out more misinformation and disinformation because we know they're nothing but propaganda, right?
Right. It's the
So
Mercury and the
I
dirt.
I just think everybody be careful. As always, be careful what you're listening to on the lying stream media because that's what they are. They're liars.
Right. How many? I read somewhere, I don't know if it was on Captain Kyle's chat or I don't know. I got a lot of research things that I use, but a lot of our government is supposed to have dual citizenship with Israel because pedophilia is legal there. Did you ever hear that?
Lovely.
Yeah,
I
I've
have.
I've
Yes, this
I've
is
heard
Field.
I've heard about the dual citizenship. Yes, I have. Go ahead, Field.
No, I was just letting this lady know, and I'm lucid. I know her name's, well, I think it's Linda H.
Thank you. Yep.
Okay, good. I'm still lucid then.
Right.
Yeah, I've heard that dual citizenship because it's like the schoolyard bullies. Um, most people listening to Jenny's show right now and my voice, Field Mcconnell, are not aware of the Balfour Doctrine. And Jenny, I'll just go ahead and suggest that anyone who wants to get a good feeling, or that's poor choice of words, an accurate feeling about Israel, look up the Balfour Doctrine,
Declaration.
BAL.
Declaration.
Oh, okay. Thank you. And that was how the nation state of Israel got created a long, long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been up to no good ever since. And what's their future? I don't know. I know what my future is. I'm going to heaven, and I'm going to hate to say goodbye to people I love and respect, but it's going to be overshadowed by the joy I have when I'm in the company
So
of my wife, Denise, again. Go ahead, Jenny.
So real quickly regarding the Balfour Declaration, I believe that was established in 19, I'll put it on the wall, but know the difference, everybody. So when people talk about Israel, there's Israel, the people, God's people, right? And that's what I believe he's talking about in the Bible. And then there's Israel, the state, the evildoers, the corruption,
Yeah.
the crap that goes on over there. So so know the difference. So when people say, "Hey, I stand with Israel," or it's the people. More than likely, it's the people, unless it's a nefarious person, say in Bibi. Obviously, he's talking about when he talks about Israel, he's talking about the state of Israel, the government, and all that stuff. So there's a difference, and I think people get confused about it and just put them all into one. But there's Israel, the people, and then Israel, the state. Go ahead, Field.
No, I want to just rubber stamp what you said, and thank you for correcting me with the name of the Balfour item. But that's what people need to know. I mean, all people, regardless of where you live, even if you live in Israel, you got to know the history of Israel when it was created in England. And I'm not sure what Israel's ever done for the good people. I mean, their own people are good, but their politicians, and this sounds a lot like America. I mean, I was just talking accurately about Lyndon Baines Johnson attacking the USS Liberty, which happened, I'm just demonstrating my lucidity, on the 8th of June of 1967. And one of the ugly names in the history of the United States Navy is McCain. And there was a four-star Admiral, John McCain, that created the largest tonnage and human cost attack on the U.S. Navy in the history of the U.S. Navy. That's one of the lovely McCain trio. The second, his son, was named John McCain also. And that guy was involved in the cover up of the USS Liberty. And I have a passion for that Liberty assassination attempt. My passion is both good and bad. I'm very happy that they only killed about 134 sailors. I could be off by one or two. They injured a lot. They did not succeed in sinking the Liberty, but they had a U.S. Navy submarine at periscope depth on the left side of the USS Liberty, and they had been instructed, if the Israelis can't sink the Liberty, you sink it with a torpedo. And I always have a hard time remembering or recalling the name of that submarine, but it starts with an A, and that right there is an act of treason against Lyndon Baines Johnson and the captain of the USS, whatever it is that starts with an A. He did fire, or he ordered the equivalent projectors of force that would cause a torpedo to target the Liberty. But it could be that God didn't want that. I mean, this is possible. I'm not saying it's accurate, but it's quite possible, because with God, all things are possible. But that torpedo, and I just remembered the name of the submarine, USS Amberjack. Maybe you can Google that, Jenny, and support me or correct me. USS capital Amberjack. I don't like treason. I don't like child trafficking. I love everyone except traitors and child traffickers. And I believe that I will be recalled accurately at the time of my death for being someone that's very active in exposing both international child trafficking. And notice I didn't say anything about my only sibling, although I haven't seen or heard from her in years. And treason. I don't like the treason. And that's what we saw with the USS Liberty, because at least the president of the U.S., the Secretary of Defense, and the skipper of the Amberjack, they all colluded to kill U.S. servicemen and blame it on Egypt, even though it was Israel that was doing the dirty work. Over to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Field. I just put USS Amberjack on the wall, everybody. And then back to real quickly the Balfour Declaration. I think it's important for everybody to know it was established in 1917 through the Rothschilds. So they established the whole state of Israel and allowed all their corruption to go through it. So it is on the wall, as well as is the USS Amberjack. So JP, I have your mic unmuted. Go ahead and ask Field your question. Go ahead, JP. Your mic is unmuted. Hit the blue button in the middle of the screen. Going once, going twice. JP, going 3 times. All right, Mark Levy, I'm going to unmute your mic. Go ahead, Mark. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead, Mark.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi, Field. Good to hear from you. And Jenny, I'd like to set the stage on something. And then Jenny, as well as Field, I'd like your opinion on what I say here. Talking about the Charlie Kirk shooting and all the anomalies that go with it. The first thing is the shooter that they showed on national TV jumping off the roof. Okay, this guy jumps off the roof with no gun. Okay, now he did have a backpack. So then the question would be, was he able to disassemble the gun and put it in his backpack? Well, that gun takes between 10 and 15 minutes from an expert to disassemble. But let's just say, for argument's sake, so he disassembled the gun and he jumped off the roof. Okay, then he reassembled the gun to throw it into the woods so that they can find it. I think not. I got a bridge for sale right there. So we know they're lying about something there. Okay, now you go to all the footage that I've seen about the Charlie Kirk shooting and all the different angles. I see a guy standing to Charlie Kirk's right that has an air gun underneath his arm. And after the shooting, it kind of comes out and you can see it real well. Then there's a guy behind Charlie Kirk giving hand signals just before the shooting. And one more thing, there's a structure in the field that kind of looks like a structure at Dealey Plaza. So that made me think of a reenactment of the JFK shooting. I believe the air gun was used by a driver for JFK. That's the correlation. You've got your patsy. You got the shooter up on the roof, your lone shooter, who could not have made that shot. He's 22 years old. He's not a Marine. He's not an expert, and he couldn't have made that shot. And you've got the hand signal guy that is your umbrella man. If anybody remembers the JFK shooting, a guy held up an umbrella and opened it up on a clear day. So I'd like your comments on all that. Maybe it's a Derek Johnson thing because he thinks it's an operation. What do you guys think?
So my thoughts on this is that you're right. There's a lot of anomalies. There's a lot of things that don't make sense. I do believe that the guy that jumped down off the roof, he is not the shooter. I do believe that. Obviously, we saw the gentleman in the audience, a decoy that said, I did it. Apparently, he was supposedly at the 9/11 when the towers went down. And then through the course of this, they've done some investigation. They found him guilty on some pornography on his phone, child porn, right? So there's just a lot of things that don't make sense. The hand signals and all the different people talking about different people having different types of guns in the audience and stuff like that. I just don't know. See, for me, I try not to get tied up into that because there's so many things that don't make sense. There's so many things that could have been right. It was brought to my attention this morning, and I could totally see where this could happen. But again, I just try not to get caught up in it. That what about a hologram projector? Those things are real, right? So I just don't know, because at the end of the day, if in fact it did really happen, I want to be sensitive to the family and those that are hurting about it. Many are. I've shed my tears, as many have. So I just try not to get caught up in all of it. But you're right, Mark. There's a lot of anomalies, a lot of things that don't make sense. They did come out and say that they were going to be talking to the people that were doing the signals in the audience, or not the audience, but the people that were behind him doing like the hand signals and stuff. And then even some people maybe in the audience that people have been maybe questioning, like, hey, you need to check this person out, because there's so many. I believe there's a bunch of decoys in that audience. I do believe that, but again, I don't know. For me to even say really anything about it, in my opinion, that's really all I can give you. What about you, Fields?
I'm just going to trigger Mark Levy, if I pronounced Levy correctly. I think I did, and if I didn't, I apologize. Here's your trigger: exit wound. Have you heard that term before in relation to this event?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to. No, I can see a good conclusion to this if this was a staged event instead of a real killing, and it leads millions of people to faith in God and Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit, well, what's wrong with that? But
Then that's the
just
message.
like,
Yep.
well, that
Yeah.
is the message, isn't it?
Absolutely, 100%. Look what it did. Like, just yeah, absolutely. I read
Yep.
yesterday 2.2 million watched it just on like the cable stations. That's just the cable stations. That doesn't include the people streaming it, and then of course the people that were here in Arizona that saw it. So it's definitely the shot, I believe, heard around the world, and it is definitely uniting people and bringing people to Christ for sure. So that's huge.
Yes, and there is one
Yeah.
more thing, if I may say. Cash Patel went on TV and said, "My friend Charlie Kirk, I'll see you in Valhalla." Valhalla is known as a secret place, like a secret hiding place. So forgive me, Lord, if I'm wrong, but I believe he's alive, and I can't wait to hear Derek Johnson later on because I think he does too.
Yes, and what Derek is putting out there is the operation, and that ties in with his shows you with the laws and orders and all that kind of stuff. So he's very passionate about it, and I get it. Uh, and he's trying to lay it all out for everybody to understand. But again, because we are human, we have emotion, we have feelings. I get the other side of it too, where people have those feelings. So I understand the laws and orders, what he's trying to put out there, the military occupation, what's going on, the unconventional warfare, the continuity of government, all of that, what he's trying to do. But many people still can't wrap their minds around that yet, because the whole military operation and all the executive orders, laws and orders, because they just haven't gone and read them, right? Taken that time. So, yeah, it's a slippery slope, and I respect both ends of it. I respect what Derek's doing. I respect what, how people feel out there. But at the end of the day, for me, I just know, for me, a lot of things don't make sense. If I was not a sensitive individual and didn't care, I would probably lean more to the fact that we've been told the world is a stage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is
Yeah.
this a stage? Is this a staged event, like many of the things that we have seen in the research that we've done come out to be, right? So I would lean more that way, but because there are real feelings and real people involved, I'm more on the sensitive side to just kind of just roll with it. I just don't know. So that's kind of where I am. I'm like right in the middle. I mean, I know how I feel, but yeah, it's tough for sure.
Yes, and one more thing is they they broke down the set immediately. They would have roped it off as a crime scene. They just completely demolished it and didn't rope it off. And I just I think that this is just if the shooter, they're calling the shooter, gets shot, then it's the JFK thing playing out all over again.
History repeats itself, right, Mark?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate your opinion. Thank you. Phil, did you want to respond to anything of that?
Yeah, I just encourage people to look up exit, EXIT, wound, WOUND. And I'm not seeking an opinion from Mark on this, but I think those two words are critical to this confusion and the revelation of truth in the alleged death of Charlie, uh, whoever he was, KIRK, I think.
Yep, Kirk.
And the reason, did I get it right?
Yes, you did.
Oh, I'm surprised. The reason I'm not, I mean, I thought that was right, but I like to have people verify what I would consider an opinion. And the reason I'm sort of hemming and hawing here is my screen on my phone has gone blank. So I'm questioning if I'm still on the radio. But when I hear Jenny's voice or Mark's voice, I realize I am on the radio. So we can continue to talk about current events. And by the way, Jenny, I always like to give you a compliment. And I think you are, and your platform is a better fountain of truth than the collective inputs of the mainstream media in the United States of America, which I would characterize as intellectual treason against the citizens of the United States of America. Over to you, Jenny.
Oh, thank you, Field. I appreciate that. Well, you're a part of that this platform, so I appreciate it. And we are doing good work. I'm getting good information on the backside, so we are doing some good work. So we're going to continue, everybody. And with that, everybody, Field gives us 90 minutes of his time. We are right there. So he'll be back. You'll be back with us next Monday, Field. Same time, same place.
I hope so. I think so. And you oftentimes tell me or ask me if I'm good for a show on show day. And it's hard to predict accurately a week in advance, but I fully intend to be on with you, Jenny, next Monday at noon Central. How's that sound?
That sounds awesome. And Field, we always look forward to you and your show. So I want to thank you for always being here. And everybody, come back and join us for John Baxter. He'll be here at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then also to Derek Johnson later this evening, 6:30 Central Standard Time. And then that's 4:30 Pacific Standard Time. So with that, everybody, God bless you. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you here back for John. And thank you, Phil. God bless you. Love you. And we'll talk to you. I'll talk to you on the backside, and we'll talk to you soon.
That sounds good. And God has blessed me. And if anybody questions that, just consider the name Denise Irene Clark Mcconnell. That's the biggest blessing to me by God. Amen.
Amen.
See you
Thank
next
you,
week.
Phil. Thank you, Phil.
Yeah,
God bless.
You're very welcome. And I will see you next week.
All right, Phil.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.